Poker can be a game of life or death.
I'm having trouble sleeping because I'm so excited.
Sometimes you have live cards.
Oh, there's a sweat, huh?
Out. Sometimes you're drawing dead. Some all-ins are suicide. But eventually, you must put your tournament life at risk.
Now I have like this huge hurricane in my chest that is just stuck there. I'm just waiting for it just to explode.
Here on day 6 of the main event, either you survive or you're buried. Welcome back to Las Vegas for more Day 6 action from the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. It's a sign of the times, chips being colored up as the stacks grow well beyond the original 30,000.
Black Knight, Mars Callahan.
Mars Callahan has written himself a nice starring role.
He directed himself in the film Pool Hall Junkies, but he might be doing a better job of directing himself here.
Can't believe they named you after a candy bar.
113 players remain, and over at our secondary table, some of the biggest names trying to move up the leaderboard, including bracelet winner Ellie Alezra.
The man from the big game is old school, but right now he needs new chips. Ellie is short-stacked.
Jean-Robert Ballard also in red.
Jean-Robert stands out in any crowd. In red, he looks like a fire alarm about to go off.
Hilton Laborda wearing the Brazilian flag, and no, that's not red.
Well, he's got so many chips, Hilton Laborda really could use a flag with pockets.
Currently, Laborda in 7th place. It is Phil Collins who has been setting the pace. He was the first to 8 million. Ben Lamb has been a fixture at or near the top and currently sits in 2nd place. And at our featured table, Phil Collins, the 2007 graduate from the University of South Carolina. He has increased his lead here on day 6. Absolutely everything going his way so far.
I keep talking about it. Young faces just about everywhere you look.
Canadian Jody Howe folds 6 tray. New to this table from Canterbury, England, with pocket queens on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole cam is Sam Holden.
He has a forensic science degree from the University of Kent. I believe they are the Thundering Herd.
This is his first World Series and his first cash, a raise to 60,000. King 5 for Mario Silvestri. He will lay it down. Fold it over to the big blind. Phil Collins 4, deuce of diamonds.
With the size of Collins' stack right now, virtually no hand is out of his range.
And just a min raise from Holden, so only 30,000 more, and Collins will stick around. Here's our flop. Deuce, tray, ace, a pair of deuces and a wheel draw for Collins. Holden still good with the pocket queens. He checks after Collins does. Turn card is another deuce. Trips for Collins to give him a huge lead.
Well, he has been aggressive quite often. It's one thing to be aggressive. It's another to run good. Collins has been running very good.
105,000 from the tournament chip leader. Holden, the second biggest stack at this table with just over 2 million, makes the call. The river card. King of clubs. Not sure that will help Collins get any more chips out of Holden, who has pocket queens.
I wonder how Phil Collins decides which chips to bet off of his chip stack.
Decisions for the chip leader. He does bet 325,000 of them, though.
Holden thinking, you know, if I had just stuck with forensic science, my days would be a lot less stressful.
Now trying to figure out exactly what Collins is up to. Few have been successful in that so far. Holden does lay it down. Phil Collins padding his stack once again. He sits with almost 8.9 million.
Phil Collins looks dressed for success here on day 6.
It seems that chip leaders are a dime a dozen in the early stages of the main event, but with 113 players now remaining, the title of chip leader really means something. Phil Collins has assumed that role, and from what we've seen, Norman, this kid really knows what he's doing.
Some guys take the chip lead and implode. But then some guys take the chip lead and look as if they were born to lead in chips, like Phil Collins. Young, smart, good-looking, with a college degree and married to his college sweetheart. They just don't make them like this anymore. Frankly, he's so perfect, I just feel like roughing him up a bit. Hey, let the kid walk a mile in my shoes and see how long he keeps that chip lead.
Wow, that's a worse fate than getting check raised. Back at the feature table, Lance Steinberg open raised an early position to 66,000 with 10-9 of hearts. Folded to Collins, who calls with Jack 9 suited.
Collins was on the South Carolina Law School wait list in the summer of '07, decided to see if poker could be a career. It turned out it could be a career, and he ended up turning down law school.
Everyone folds, heads up to the flop. 7-10 queen, middle pair for Steinberg in the black hat. Collins with an open-ended straight draw.
You know, Lon, I could have been a lawyer except for the law school thing.
Steinberg, a real estate developer in New York.
Owns a property management company that's also in my range professionally.
A bet of 122,000.
Before he acts, Collins always looks to me like he's about to dissect a frog.
Pro Eric Lindgren says one of the big improvements in Collins' game is his reading abilities.
Very careful chip selection.
He makes the call for 122,000. And the turn card in 8. Collins hits a queen high straight. Steinberg with a straight flush draw.
250.
250.
$250,000 from Steinberg.
Where did that turn card come from? It's like dropping a chicken into a fox den.
Collins has been running good.
All in.
And he raises Steinberg all in.
Got a ton of outs.
He does, and it's hard to back off now.
I'm behind, but
If Steinberg folds here, he'd have 22 big blinds left. Tough spot for the amateur.
Phil Collins has been putting so many opponents to this exact test.
I call.
Steinberg calls all in. With just one card to come, he needs help immediately.
About to be more.
Jack and 9 of diamonds. He has a straight.
Oh, you do have hearts. Wow, it's a lot of outs.
Steinberg thought he'd have flush and straight outs, with the bottom end of the straight be no good for him. With a jack, they would chop the pot with the same straight. Otherwise, Steinberg needs a heart to win, or he's gone.
The river card, the deuce of diamonds, and that will do it. Steinberg, the latest victim of the day 6 executioner, Phil Collins, who has cracked the 10 million chip mark.
Familiar scene, Collins shaking hands with a player he busts. He's either signaling he has 10 million chips or signaling he's busted 10 players in the last hour.
Steinberg finishes in 108th place after running into the buzzsaw of this main event, Mr. Phil Collins. All right, let's get over to the secondary table where bracelet winner Eli Lesra shoved with pocket tens for his last 474,000. Jared Vengren holds 2 black kings, and perhaps Eli's ticket back to the big cash game nearby.
Vengren, 24 years old, younger brother of poker pro Matt Vengren.
All right, and now the flop. It is 8 ace 8. No help for Lesra there.
Eli's trying to will a 10 onto that board.
Turn card deuce of hearts. Vengren 1 card from knocking out a very tough opponent.
Eli Lesra hoping this is a victory cigar, but unless he gets a river 10, he might as well throw it away.
Another 8 on the river. Eli Lesra comes up short. There will be no victory cigar tonight. His second main event cash, the last one coming 7 years ago.
We lose one of the great personalities of the game.
Sorry, Ellie.
It's all right.
A quiet exit for Lesra as we near the 100-player mark. Back at the Rio for the 2011 main event, 6,865 players started this journey on day 1. As we hit the midway point of day 6, just 105 remain. One of the more notable players remaining is Jean-Robert Ballon. His stack has taken a hit of late, but like we say, he's always got talking chips. At times, Jean-Robert celebrates how tough poker life can be, and as you see, Ballon's top 5 tournament cashes are not of the 7-digit variety. In order to put the 2011 main event at the top of his list, he'd need to finish 36th or better.
And the thing about Jean-Robert, all that money is gone. So as he says, he's broke, but somehow living like a millionaire.
40-year-old Las Vegas poker pro with King Jack.
Jean-Robert mixing it up a lot from early position. His hand range seems to be wider than the Grand Canyon.
He does raise it up to 70,000 to Tri Huing with 8-4 of diamonds.
Speaking of wide hand ranges, here comes Huing.
Looks like he wants to play with Ballon. Recreational player from Canada makes the call. Hilton Laborda, 8-7 of spades.
You know, if everyone wore their national flag at the main event, it would feel like the opening ceremony of the Olympics.
Well, Brazil does have the Olympics in 2016. Laborda made the call, folded around to the big blind Paul Spitzberg, and he gives up his 6 deuce. So 3 players will see this flop. And it's king, jack, jack, bingo for Balon. Jack's full.
Look at the percentages. Actually, I think there should be minus signs next to Huang and Laborda. How can Jean Robert be broke when he sees flops like that?
And how can Jean Robert get chips out of his opponents with that hand? He bets 130,000.
Under normal circumstances, that would end matters, but with this hat and that flag, who knows?
Tree Wing has chips in hand, maybe trying to represent exactly the hand that Balon has. He makes the call.
Huang is going to try to take away the pot later. Good luck and right when you get work.
Now the man from Manaus, Brazil, in the Brazilian flag folds, so heads up to the turn. Got a real hand and a bluffer. Turn card, 4 of spades.
I'd say Jean Robert would have been comfortable with almost any turn card.
Well, Balon has 300,000 in orange cut out, but decides to check.
Wow, the Jean Robert show. Brings the chips out to bet, then checks. Reverse tell. Usually, that's a sign of weakness.
Fold in.
Wing's got him covered.
I call.
And Jean Robert gets an instant double up.
Oh, with his little chip dance, Jean Robert gets paid off. Got to give the big man credit.
How much do you have?
2 times what I had before the hand started. That's all I know.
It's like the old pool hustler comes out of Balon.
That was a pretty good flop, huh?
How much do you have?
1, 2, 3.
And then check.
Come on, baby. Let's get some.
Tree Wing's badly timed bluff is all gravy for Balon.
Even a squirrel catches a nut sometimes. Come on, P, give me some. All
Well,
right.
tells may not have played a role in that hand. Picking up on your opponent's physical tendencies can be important for future hands.
In this video, Tree's going to demonstrate something for us that very few people are aware of, and it has to do with behaviors of the neck. Watch how he massages his neck, touches his neck, and then ventilates his neck, all indicative of struggling with something or weakness. Let's go through it. So you see him here, touches his neck, ventilates slightly, and this is a very accurate tell that tells the world, boy, I'm just not up to my game right here.
Here's an accurate tell I have on FBI guy Joe Navarro. If he's walking towards you, you should walk away.
To an outer table now, and there are fewer and fewer of them here on day 6. German poker pro Sebastian Rutenberg after the river is left with ace high. His opponent is Claudia Crawford, who turned jacks up. Her hand is now unbeatable. Action on Rutenberg. He checks.
Crawford, a diehard Alabama fan. If she makes the November 9, she says her rail will yell "Roll Tide" every time she wins a hand.
140,000 is the announced bet from Crawford.
Rutenberg has nothing.
Whether or not he believes Crawford, he's got nothing, and he does fold.
Roll Tide.
So Crawford with more than 2.2 million now at this table.
Remember, her fiance Gabe Costner finished 35th at last year's main event. Her goal, to surpass him.
Crawford, one of 3 women remaining in the main event. Amanda Musumeci has over $1 million up from her day 6 starting stack.
You know, she likes to shoot pool. If I didn't think so highly of her, I'd fix her up with Jean Robert Balon.
And there's Erica Motino sitting with about 750,000 chips, and amazingly, her boyfriend David Sands is still alive.
I'm no relationship expert, but I don't think it's a good idea for couples to play poker.
Sands in the gray hoodie just turned trip kings, and he has opponent Ben Logan drawing dead. Logan, of course, doesn't know that. He did flop a pair of 9s.
Sands a great online player with 12 World Series cashes.
Bets almost 200,000.
You play more than me now, right? 1.3, something like that. Start the hand.
Logan finished 87th in the 07 main event. I don't think Logan's girlfriend plays poker. He looks smarter than that.
Former semi-pro basketball player.
I call.
And that call sounds better than whispered sweet nothings to Sands. Sands has Logan drawing dead, going to the river. Queen of clubs. Now Sands must figure an amount that Logan would call.
Sands taught Erica Motino how to play poker. I wish more women would play poker, but if I were a poker pro, Lon, I guarantee you my girlfriend, fiance, or wife would not play poker. I don't let my wife, Tony, broadcast poker.
Sands started this hand with just shy of $2 million. There's 577,000 carefully put in the middle.
Degree of difficulty on that chip entry into the pot was 9.7.
Basically about 3 hands you can have to beat me. And a blocker to one of them.
Actually, I see 17 hands that might beat him.
Logan would need about half his stack to make this call. He is tortured.
577. I can't tell if you're fake breathing here or real breathing here. Breathing a lot.
I think he's holding his breath because he lets his girlfriend play poker.
It's more fake to me. I'm gonna call.
And Sands will win it.
I said.
Sands had him on the hook, and he reeled him in.
That's one of the hands we.
Nice hand, big pot.
Doc Sands with over 2.6 million chips now. Whether it was fake breathing or real breathing, those are very real chips in front of David Sands. He is officially a strong contender. The World Series of Poker has been held in Las Vegas since 1970. Each year it gets bigger. Nearly 7,000 entered the main event, and a record number of entries overall, 58 events, nearly 76,000. Ben Lamb making headway as usual, up to almost 7 million. He has to be wary of Eric Lindgren on his left. The chips of one-time leader Daryl Jace are deserting him. He's dropped half his stack today.
Maybe he should have shaved, and texting don't help.
Perhaps he's downloading Phil Helmy's new poker app. Who knows? Want to mention that former Facebook exec Chamath Palihapitiya was knocked out recently in 101st place. And Fabio Sosa from Brazil is one of the new players at our feature table. And like many before him, he got a little lucky to make it this far. Sosa was facing a set of sixes on the flop and needed runner to stay alive. One runner came, and so did number two. Hilton Laborda was stunned, and Fabio Sosa's trip back to Brazil was put on hold.
He didn't want to go home yet. He's in the car repair business. The main event's a better place to be.
Action on Jody Howe under the gun on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Hole Cam. Ace 10.
I think Howe needs to loosen up. Go to a show, strike up the band. It's Vegas, baby. Enjoy yourself.
Born in Saskatchewan, lives in Delta, British Columbia now. Not a poker pro. He raises the action to 62,000.
And he seemed pained to raise the 62,000 chips there.
He may have left Saskatchewan because the Rough Riders could never win the Grey Cup. Not that they're that much better at BC. The Lions haven't done that much better. I'm just saying. Harder with pocket trays.
Harder no longer with the stack to play small pocket pairs.
Collins over 10 million now. Gives up his button, folded to the big blind. Sosa. Sosa looks down at a red king and a black ace.
I will say this, Sosa looks like he's from out of town, but at least he's not wearing the Brazilian national flag. Come on, Jody, cheer up.
Sosa, 35 years old, from Rio de Janeiro. And he's all in.
That's not going to cheer up Jody.
No. Howe has Sosa covered, but gives up his hand, and the Brazilian will win that pot.
They both make the right play. Score one for Team Brazil.
Well, Team Brazil now just shy of 1 million chips after winning that hand. Fabio Sosa still hanging around the main event, but when he gets back to Brazil, he'll have his hands full and his feet.
Fábio Souza, tenho 35 anos, Rio de Janeiro, Brasil. Basicamente, a gente começou nesse ramo automotivo aproximadamente uns 17, 18 anos atrás. Meu irmão sempre quis montar alguma coisa, um comércio. Hoje, o grupo tem 7 lojas ao todo, onde trabalhamos eu, meus 3 irmãos e o meu pai também. O pôquer é uma coisa que inicialmente ele começou como um lazer e a cada dia que passa, a gente vem se dedicando mais e obtendo os resultados. Na verdade, aqui no Brasil é meio complicado ainda a questão do pôquer. A aceitação do pôquer, ela não é tão grande perante a sociedade. Muitas vezes, muitas pessoas que não conhecem o pôquer acham que o pôquer é um jogo de azar, vincula a um jogo de cassino, onde não é, diferente do jogo, é um pôquer. Aqui é onde eu consigo tirar um foco um pouquinho do jogo e me preparar condicionalmente para aquelas longas maratonas, como exige o WSOP, o Main Event. Você joga 10, 12 horas de evento e se não tiver preparo físico e tá com foco em dia, só pensando naquilo, dificilmente vai chegar.
Souza's right. When I cashed in a World Series event this year, Lon, I prepped by playing hours of video beach volleyball.
New to this table, meet Jerry Van Strydunk, 25-year-old Rochester, New York poker pro, ace queen of clubs.
He has an engineering degree from Cornell.
A raise to $70,000 from Van Strydunk.
You know, I'm a big bowling fan. We don't get nearly as many Ivy Leaguers in bowling as we do in poker.
You think not, huh? All right, fold it over to Souza in the big blind with King 8 of clubs. The Brazilian amateur calls for 40,000 more. And he will go heads up against the new player here, Jerry Van Strydunk. The flop, King 7-10, all diamonds, not the suit our players were looking for. Souza best with top pair. Van Strydunk with a Broadway draw. Souza checked.
Actually, Souza has an economics degree, so he matches up pretty well against the Cornell kid.
Yeah, he does. Van Strydunk with 85,000. Top pair for Souza.
Come on.
And he check raises all in, and Van Strydunk gives up immediately. Welcome to the table, Jerry.
The check raise shove. That's a scary board to move in on, but it turns out okay.
Souza using the full power of his less than average stack.
That's a good start.
And he takes down a couple of hands and awaits his next victim. Welcome back to the 2011 World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. I'm Lon McCarran, here with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 100 players remaining, the average stack, just over 2 million chips. Let's get right to an outer table. Tony Hashem on the left and Lars Bonding on the right have each committed 75,000 chips to see a flop. Hashem leads with pocket sixes. Bonding trying to channel Doyle Brunson with 10 deuce. Here's the flop. 7 queen jack 2 clubs. Hashem sees 3 overcards to his sixes.
Hashem trying to complete the improbable brother-brother double of winning the main event. Only 99 players left to beat now.
He checked to Bonding, who picked up a flush draw.
Bonding finished 273rd in the 06 main event. Tough, tough player.
Bonding bets 172,000.
Tony Hashem looks a bit bothered by the bet. He might think he's ahead, and he is, but he might not want to take the risk here, especially out of position.
And with a much smaller stack than Bonding. Hashem doesn't look too confident and folds his pocket sixes.
The semi-bluff works, and Lars Bonding drags a pot while barring one of David Bach's masseuses.
So Lars Bonding takes another pot as he approaches 4 million chips. Elsewhere, Mars Callahan re-raised the pre-flop action with his pocket tens to 378,000. His opponent, Brian Yoon, has ace-queen off. Now he re-raises Callahan all in.
Raise all in. 1 second.
Mars, of course, has a flair for the dramatic.
Very good.
Every decision so difficult for this amateur.
Yoon, also an LA guy, but he's a student at UCLA.
Oh my. This is so sick. It's so sick. If I make this play, this could be so ill.
I think my man Mars is overstating the sickness of this. I don't think this hand has any symptoms of any illness. Mars committed a lot of chips pre-flop and now might not want to commit any more.
He's ahead right now, but how far does he want to take the pocket tens?
Maybe Mars can cast Yoon for his next silent movie.
Why are you trying to steal my pot from me?
Wow, now this sounds like Macbeth, Act 2, Scene 3. Mars is deliberate and pretty darn entertaining to me.
And he tosses in the tens.
Mars folds a big hand.
Yoon will take that pot.
Yeah, I would touch Ben Lamb for good luck.
Well, Mars Callahan has made a lot of correct decisions to make it this far. The bottom line is he'll be here to play the next hand.
Nice steal.
If he had called all in, well, who knows what would have happened. In the fourth $1,500 no-limit hold'em event of the summer, chess and backgammon wizard Arkady Sinis became the third Ukrainian-born bracelet winner at the 2011 World Series of Poker.
Arkady Sinis, I just won my first bracelet of World Series of Poker, 2011.
And the state of North Dakota had its very first champion in World Series history when Mitch Schock took down the $2,500 mixed pot limit hold'em in Omaha event. It has been a memorable World Series in 2011. Veteran pro Artie Cobb cashed in the main event after last cashing here in 1976. And of course, Phil Hellmuth notched 3 second-place finishes, a dubious record to say the least.
Well, the poker brat with a record 11 bracelets, but now with 9 runner-up finishes in his World Series career.
To an outer table, a man from Belize is Badi Bunara, who went all in with 8-7 of hearts. He's standing, though, where he can't see the board, but he trails the pocket kings of Russian Andrei Patachuk. And here's the flop and a straight for Bunara. My goodness.
Bunara does not know what the board is.
Turn card gives Patachuk a set to make it interesting.
If the board pairs, Bunara is gone.
The river card is a blank. Bunara will survive.
Full house.
Brian Devonshire just told Bunara that Patachuk made a full house.
Good luck, guys. Good game, man. Good luck, guys.
He's saying his goodbyes. Badi, who prefers to be called Bob, is coming back. He still doesn't know he has survived.
That's a very good flop. What happened?
You had a select card on the turn.
Oh, I won. I won. Yeah. You no good, man.
He really didn't know.
I won. Flopped a straight. 4, 5, 6. Whoa!
I felt really bad about teasing you.
No, good.
This is the flop, and I'm like,
no. Good, huh? Wow. Flop the straight, man.
Patachuk making sure Moscow is indeed 6,500 miles from Belize.
Less than half the chip average, but Bunara has a second life, doing his best to represent his home country.
I am here to get to the final table, and I'm playing this tournament for the country of Belize and for all the poker players in Belize. Obviously, I've been playing cards more than a lot of people that are playing right now. I've been playing my gut feeling, my cards. I never double question my gut feeling. It's the difference between life and death in a tournament. I'm very relaxed, very calm, very cool. On the break, I go out and go smoke a cigar, have a cigar, come back.
Bunara was born in Lebanon. He's the part owner of a poker room in Belize City and plays there twice a week.
The payout now up to almost $65,000. We're under 100 players. Christian Harder, second to act at this table with pocket tens, makes a raise to $65,000.
At 49, Bunara is one of the older players left. You look around the room and it's mostly 20-somethings.
Jody Howe gives up his hand. Sam Holden with pocket sevens.
22-year-old, decent hand on the button.
Raise in front of him from Harder. And the Englishman folds his pocket pair. Harold Wasson with pocket fours shoves.
James Lipton pushes.
Van Stridunk with queens moves all in. Back to Harder. He folds.
Nines? Tens.
So heads up, Wasson in severe trouble. His fours against the queens of Van Stridunk.
The real estate broker had the worst pocket pair, and he was surrounded by land sharks. Wasson at risk.
Here's the flop, 5-king tray. No help to Wasson.
It's a lot of black small cards.
James Lipton, though, about to be evicted from the Poker Players studio.
Turn card now. Wasson picks up a lot of outs with an up and down straight draw.
Yeah, a lot more outs for Wasson. He needs a deuce, 4, or 7 to stay alive.
It's a 10, and Wasson is done. And ouch, says Christian Harder, who folded tens.
Yeah, that's bad luck for Harder. If Wasson folds pocket fours as he should have, Harder likely would end up calling Van Stridunk and rivering a set.
A 96th place finish for the amateur.
You don't know that I'm a net these days. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty lucky for me.
And Stridunk with almost 2.7 million chips.
Come on.
Come on.
Nines?
Tens.
4 pocket pairs pre-flop. Van Stridunk's was best to start and best to finish. Welcome back. Top stack Phil Collins realizes there are elements of luck that always play a role in no-limit hold'em tournaments.
There's a lot of luck that is involved that people don't really see. Having a big hand it's very convenient when somebody else has a big hand. That's a factor of luck that people don't really see. But in the long run, the better players are going to win. So I try not to think about how well I've been running or how lucky I've been. Just focus on playing the best you can.
In the long run, I know the better players are going to win because I have never won.
Each day, Phil Collins has increased his stack. Like everyone else, he started day one with 30,000, and right now, he is just under 10 million chips.
Collins says staying relaxed and staying in the moment have gotten him this far.
All right, at this Phil Collins headline featured table with the button, Mario Silvestri min raised with ace-8 to 60,000. Action on Collins in the big blind with pocket deuces.
All in.
Collins re-raises, Silvestri all in.
Contrasting stacks. The chip leader can push here with well less than 10% of his stack. Silvestri has about 25 big blinds left.
Silvestri has seen the Collins run good up close tonight.
You usually hate to hang your tournament life on a weak ace, but you gotta gamble sometime. Let's see what Mario Silvestri wants to do.
A call.
Silvestri calls for his tournament life, and he'll hope to catch something to take a small bite out of the big stack of Phil Collins.
A tough call for Silvestri, but I think he'll take a race at this point.
Phil Collins hoping to make Silvestri his latest victim of this prosperous day 6. All right, here we'll see a flop. 5-4-8. Silvestri takes the lead right away with a pair of 8s.
Well, Phil Collins about to absorb what amounts to a fender bender.
Turn card. 9 of hearts. Silvestri a card away from a double up.
Only a deuce would send Mario Silvestri home.
The river card is an ace. Silvestri Rivers ace is up. He now has 55 big blinds.
Collins still with the multi-level office and retail complex over there.
Kind of looked like a 2 for a second.
It did look like a 2 for a second.
Silvestri shows the world Collins can be beat. To our secondary table now. Action on Hilton Laborda. He has the Jack Link's beef jerky wild card hand.
I've got to play along with a guy who wears a flag as a cape. Thanks for nothing. Plus, if this guy acted any slower, he'd be Hume Cronin.
Laborda now does act. A raise to 72,000.
A raise from middle position. I know nothing about the man. I know nothing about Brazil. And to be perfectly blunt, I know next to nothing about no limit hold'em. I'll put him on C. Ace queen off.
All right, over to the big blind. Pius Hines with King 10 of spades. And the poker pro from Cologne, Germany makes the call.
I'll say this. It's a well-groomed beard.
All right, here's the flop. Jack 8-8, 2 spades. Hines picks up a flush draw.
Laborda either flopped a full house, a gut shot, or nothing.
Hines checks. Laborda checks.
He checked. I'll go with nothing. B or C.
10 of diamonds. Hines pairs his 10. Pius Hines now reaching for chips. Something from each stack. It looks like 70,000.
Now Laborda either has that full house, or he made his straight, or he has nothing.
That's your answer?
No, I've got to wait to see what he does.
Laborda with a raise to 163,000.
Is Laborda capable of bluffing at this point? No, I think a man who walks around all day wearing a flag as a cape is capable of anything. I think he's using Hines' aggression against him, puts Hines on a weak hand, and is bluffing this baby. And I would say the same under oath in a court of law. He's got 6-5 or ace-queen.
Hines, known for his aggression, makes the call for 93,000 more.
Hines could have repopped it there if he had my read, and I trust my read.
Okay. The river card with over 500,000 chips in the pot. 5 of hearts. Hines misses his flush. Left with 10s and 8s, and he checks. Laborda sees a door open.
And I'll tell you, Laborda usually doesn't act this quickly, so I definitely think he's bluffing.
448,000 is the bet.
Oh, he's bluffing. Come on, man. Look at him, Payus. He's wearing a flag like it's a dinner jacket. Call him. There you go. Get a good look at him. He's a little kapushka.
Sorry, guys.
Your 10s are good. I feel so strongly about this, I'm willing to put up half the 448,000 chips. Call him. 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 Call him.
Hines folds, and he folded the best hand. Laborda had 6-5 and wins the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand.
He should have called him. Lon, my name is Norman Chad, and I don't need a book of tells to tell me what I know. Score it.
Payus Hines was fooled. My man Norman Chad was not. Hilton Laborda with almost 4.4 million chips now. For more information on German and Brazilian players at the World Series, visit ESPN.com/poker. At an outer table in the middle sits Canadian poker pro Cyril Mitzi, who flopped 6s full of 9s against unfortunate Russian pro Alexander Mozhnikov, who flopped trip 9s and ace fell on the turn.
Mitzi with his third main event cash in 5 years, playing well.
He bets $365,000 with his boat.
Mitzi's got Mozhnikov in miserable shape here. But if I were the 25-year-old Russian pro, I'd think I've got Mitzi nailed on this one.
Okay, I'm win.
Mozhnikov raises Mitzi all in. And Cyril calls all in with his full house.
Mitzi at risk and way ahead. He's got to dodge a 9, an ace, or a jack.
The river card. Oh, it's an ace! Mitzi's boat counterfeited and sunk by the Russian.
A brutal knockout blow. Wow.
Mitzi knocked out of the main event in 95th place. Mozhnikov does the deed. Cyril Mitzi banking on having nearly 3 million chips, but now is 0, resulting in a bitter walk to the payout cage. Catching up with Eric Lindgren after the turn, the newlywed leads with a pair of 7s and a flush draw against the ace high of Brian Yoon. Action on the UCLA student Yoon. And Yoon bets over half the pot, $355,000.
Yoon, who is friends with Payus Hines, is going to posture.
Yoon with the bigger of these 2 stacks.
The main event, just a pit of despair for Eric Lindgren for years. And who would have thunk when he ended day 1 with just 3,700 chips, he'd still be here among the last 100 standing.
And Eric makes the call, though he seems a bit uneasy to commit about a quarter of his remaining chips. The river card, another 7. That will allow Eric to breathe a little easier as he rivers trips. Yoon checks.
Lindgren was not a believer on the turn, and now he gets rewarded on the river. He thought he had the best hand before. Now he knows he has the best hand.
Eric bets $440,000, almost 1/3 of the pot. And Yoon, with just ace high,
will say bye-bye.
Yep. How quickly is the question? He does retreat quickly, and Eric Lindgren will take another pot.
Eric Lindgren trying to turn his first main event cash into something really special.
Yoon will lick his wounds. Lindgren will celebrate quietly. Another good moment in a satisfying day 6 so far. So Eric has had a bumpy main event. As you mentioned, just 3,700 chips and nearly out on day 1, but he persevered, working his stack back into contention, and he credits Phil Hellmuth and how he worked the short stack as motivation to come back. A check on the remaining women. Claudia Crawford with nearly 2 million. Musumeci and Motino still in it, both over 1 million. Over 2 Crawford now.
Come on, have pocket kings, please. Oh, can you bet the flop? My God. No, I wanted you to have pocket kings.
Well, looks like she just won a pot from the small blind, but did not get much action.
Good times, good
Oh,
times.
how can he bet the flop? How can you not continuation bet that flop? Come on. Give German, you needed to have his hand.
A small pot for Crawford, but any pot in the main event is a good pot. Speaking of pocket kings, that's what Hollywood's Mars Callahan is trying to overcome. He's all in with a flop pair of jacks. J.P. Kelly has the killer kings.
Kelly, a 2-time bracelet winner. The Mars Callahan show about to close.
Turn card, the 8 of diamonds, no help to Callahan.
Nothing against J.P. Kelly, but I'm going to try to script an ace or a jack for Mars Callahan here on the river.
Callahan needs it now. The river card, the 10 of spades, and Mars Callahan's incredible main event has finished its run.
It didn't end up being the feel-good hit of the summer with a happy ending, but what a great run for film director Morris Callahan.
J.P. Kelly over 4 million chips now. 94th place for Morris Callahan.
He still doesn't know how to wear a baseball cap, but he can make movies and he can play poker.
He wins almost $65,000 as J.P. Kelly stacks the last of Callahan's chips.
J.P. loves the smell of Hollywood money.
As Callahan built his chip stack, you could see the absolute joy in his eyes. He had lasted so long in the main event. The man who writes and tells stories became one himself at the 2011 main event. As the field shrinks, the tension gets thicker here inside the Amazon room. Back to the featured table. The short stack at this table is that man, Christian Harder, with 705,000 chips. It's folded around to him. Ace 10 off.
65.
Harder makes a raise to 65,000.
65.
His buddy and chip leader, Phil Collins, folds over to Rob Colbin with pocket jacks.
21-year-old from Sweden, needs a haircut, needs a new T-shirt, needs a better baseball cap.
All in.
And he needs chips. He moves all in with the second shortest stack at this table. Fabio Souza with king queen off.
I don't think this is the time or place for king queen off.
And Souza does release the hand. Queen 9 for Howe into the muck. The re-raise back to Harder now. He would need all his chips to make this call.
Harder in a tight spot here. 20-odd big blinds left. I doubt he loves ace 10 here for all his chips.
I call.
But you're right, that was a tough spot. Harder does make the call all in. And he'll need to catch something to overcome the pocket jacks.
Not much has gone right here for Christian Harder on day 6. He was frustrated, and I guess he hoped he was racing here against Colbin.
All right, here's the flop. A set for Colbin, but a gut shot for Harder.
Well, that's not good. Harder with just a gut shot now.
All right, the turn card now. Harder at risk is a king, and he's double gutted now.
Well, double gutter gives Harder double the chance to stick around. Harder has to have a queen or a 9.
And the river card is another jack. Colbin shows how to make jacks work, all of them, and quads will send Christian Harder to the rail.
I'm a big Christian Harder fan, but he never got anything going today.
Christian Harder gone in 92nd place, says goodbye to his buddy Phil Collins as he wins almost $65,000. Colbin nearly doubles his own short stack to over $1.6 million. Elsewhere, Ben Logan is on the short end of an all-in matchup.
King Jack suited versus Ace King suited. Don't anybody say they folded a jack. I don't know. This is the second time I've used my one time on a jack.
Logan trying to run down Owen O'D's Ace King suited. OD on the right in the blue.
Do I have a second to tweet, or are we about ready to film?
OD, a 26-year-old Irish pro. His father, Donica, has made 2 main event final tables.
OD trying to score the knockout. Here's the flop. 7-10-6. OD still ahead with ace high.
Logan hoping to pair his jack.
OD trying to get rid of Logan. 8 of spades. Logan picks up a gut shot.
Need a 9 or a jack?
You heard him. A 9 or a jack?
One time.
One time.
The river card is the Queen of Hearts. And Logan knocked out of the main event.
Look, guys. The hell of a ride.
OD wondering why these Americans are so loud.
Ben Logan kept plugging away, but he ran out of time, and ultimately Chips goes out in 91st place. He also picks up almost $65,000. As Logan makes his exit, we check in one last time with the recently eliminated Morris Callahan. He's got the cash.
We going to Disneyland.
Let's go over to Kara Scott, who's with current chip leader Phil Collins.
See you guys next year.
Phil, you had an amazing day so far. Describe to me how you get to 10 million in chips.
Well, I started the day with 4 million, and right off the bat, I had somebody 4-bet call me with ace jack when I had ace king, and I faded a bunch of outs on the flop, and that put me at 6.5. I got aces 3 times today. I haven't had them in 3 days. I was hoping they'd start coming in bunches, and they did. I eliminated Joe Chong when he had ace queen suited when I had aces, and it's running really well.
Do you feel like you're in charge of the table now?
I do, but I don't think it's necessarily anything that I'm doing. Whenever you have that big of a chip stack and you play okay, you're in charge of the table.
What do you think your image is at the table?
Loose, aggressive. I think a couple people aren't sure what I'm doing, but a couple of them are pretty good online players who we have history with. They're familiar with my game, and they know what I'm capable of. So,
thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem.
I'd say he's playing okay, to use his term, okay with chips.
Day 6 is turning into the Phil Collins show.
Sam lays it down and Phil wins the pot.
As his chip stack grew, others disappeared.
Oh, my.
Brazil represented itself well.
More.
And so did Belize.
Oh, I won! I won! Yeah!
Just 10 tables are left here on day 6 of the main event. For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.